This is the Paula Elementary School in Bakersfield, California.
Boys and girls, we're going to begin a lesson using our meter sticks.
The teacher is Shirley Wise. For the past few days, her class of 3rd and 4th grade students has been involved in a series of lessons on measuring. Today, Ms. Wise will introduce the concept of decimals into their measuring activity.
As a group, you need to take 1 meter, just one section, not all 4 of them, just one, and you're going to split it into 1/10 of a meter. And if you look at your meter sticks, if everybody can see them, 1/10 of the meter is where the 10 is. The next 1/10 of a meter will be, good TJ, where the 20 is, all the way down. So I'm going to give you tape, and you need to go ahead and tape your meter cord so that 1 meter is split into tenths. Okay, so go ahead and take your cords, and I'll give you about 5 minutes to get that done. I'll bring tape around to you. You need to start measuring.
Got it. Okay. Right there on the 10. And then wrap it around. Pick it up. Wrap it. Oh, we need a little. Oh, come on.
I guess tonight, if you leave it without one there, what's going to happen if you have something that's been cold to it? Okay, on your desk you will see a chart. This chart is the length of a chart paper. And each one of you have the length or width, the size of something different. And there's also one back here at the table that we can rotate to if you have time, if we have time. We're going to be using this chart and a sheet of paper for a recorder to take care of. And there's also, we're going to enter the data onto the computer so we can look at the graph on the computer as well as the graph that you're going to do by hand by using the pen that's at your desk as well. You're going to be walking around the classroom and measuring different things. And we need to talk about a few things when we're measuring. One of the things is how to say the measurements. If we have something that's 1 meter long, plus it's a couple of parts, maybe 2 parts, you've measured out your tenths, 2 parts, then there's a special way to say that. And what do we break this into parts? How many parts do we break this into? Jesus?
Quarters?
Into quarters. How many parts are in a quarter? Do you remember how many parts there are all together?
No.
No. How many quarters are in a dollar?
4.
4. Is this in 4 parts?
No.
No. Can you look at it and see if you can figure out how many parts it's in? Would somebody like to help him? Christine?
10.
10 parts. Okay. And those are tenths. When we have quarters, we have 1 and 2 and 3, 4 quarters, and now we have tenths, so we have up to 10 tenths. So if we measured something that was 1 meter and a couple of parts, we would say it was 1 meter and 2 tenths. Okay, can everybody say that with me? 1 meter and 2 tenths. And there's a special way that we write this as well, and I'm going to show you up here on the board how to write that, because you're going to need to be writing it not only on your paper, but on the computer as well when you're entering your data. It needs to be written 1 meter and 2 tenths. And when we see it looks like a period. We use it as a period when we're doing sentences, but in numbers, we call it a decimal. And the word we say when we see one of those is and. So this is 1 and 2 tenths. That's the kind of thing I'm going to be listening for, and that's what I want you to be writing when you're writing your measurements on here, as well as what you're typing on the computer. Okay, the measurements. The width of the door, I'd like you to use the door in the back. I had them measure in my classroom a door, a chair seat, the height of a chair, the width of a table, even the width of a window. They measured several different objects so that they would have a variation in the different measurements. The height of a chair is obviously a lot smaller than the width of a desk. Okay, so on the perimeter of a table, you're going to go along the outside and add up all the measurements together. So the perimeter of a table, everybody with your fingers, go around the outside of your table. What's the perimeter of your table? Okay, the person sitting in Kareen's desk in all the groups, and if there's nobody in that seat, then it'll be the person next to it. That person is going to be the person who writes on the paper. You'll be our recorder this time.
Ms. Wise assigns the students specific roles and then breaks them into groups to begin measuring.
Here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 0.9. 0. You do it on the first one. Both of them. This one. Both of them. Yeah, because it's the whole thing. So this is a meter and 12. A meter and 12. A meter and a 12? If that doesn't, how would that be on here? A meter and 12. It doesn't say a meter and a 12.
Oh, you're gonna throw it here. What else did we use to measure with? If we don't start at the very end. What did we find? What's this last one? Is it a whole meter? Down a quarter meter? You had a whole meter left?
Yeah.
What about
Meter and 12.
Group 3, are you finished? The chart needs to be colored all the way across. Just like you do your...
12. This is a meter and a 12. Just color it in. One ask Miss Rose.
Okay.
Vision hands.
Is that a meter and 12?
A meter and 12. Oh, a meter or 12. Where's the decimal?
Right there.
Right there. Okay. This looks a whole lot like one I put up on the board. What do you think it is? Is it a meter or is it 12?
It's a meter. No, it's a meter and 12 because that's what.
Well, what numbers are here?
A 1 and a 2.
A 1 and a 2. And where's the decimal?
1 and 2.
1 and 2. You see the and with the decimal. 1 and 2 what?
Meters.
Meters? Let me have this piece of cord for you. What does this cord represent? Ah, 1 and 2/10. I heard somebody with an answer. So is that 1 and 2/10? So that means it was a whole meter long plus 2 more parts. Is that how big it was?
We started from that end. No, it had just.
Well, show me.
We did it like this.
When I come to a group of students who are having a problem, I usually listen to what the problem is, what the interaction is between the children, and then I try and give them just enough information to go ahead and start thinking in the right directions. I think that's probably the hardest thing about teaching like this, is you need to back off and let the students think and make decisions on their own without you telling them the answer. How can we measure this extra part back here then? Aha! I see a light bulb.
1 meter and 2/10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, well, 4 and 5. Probably put this up here. You guys, it's 5. Not 5. I can 5. Yeah. You're supposed to do this one. No, not 5. Up here.
Leave off right here.
9, 18, 18,
16, 17, 18, 20.
18. What did I keep going? 18. 19, 20 and a half.
20 and a half.
So how are we going to measure this part? That's what we worked on, was parts. How are we going to measure that part of one?
I know, I'm trying to
Right there.
Ah, we use that. How many parts is that?
It is
6? Is that 6 cents? Somebody else count that for me. Make sure that's 6.
Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, now he says 5. Which one is it? 5 or 6?
5. How much is that? 3. 3. There's 3 meters.
3 and 5 what?
5, 10.
That's one that needs to go on the computer. Who's our computer person?
Michelle.
Michelle, should we take a walk to the computer? Okay, what group are you? Okay. You're in group 3, so you need to put the cursor onto group 3 where the perimeter is blank. Just click right on that green square. I consider the computer as a tool, same as a book or a workbook or any other kind of resource I use in the classroom. I wanted them to see that the computer can be used to keep information and then to show us, by using a graph in this case, how to formulate and organize our information that we come up with. You have the height of a desk done as well. Do you want to go to the computer and put that one in as well? Okay, go ahead over there. Does it look kind of like this one, but sideways?
Yeah.
Look what 2, 5, 6, and 7. 2, 5, 6, and 7 are almost the same. Do they look just about the same on the computer?
Yeah.
And 5 is a little bit larger. So our graph that we made by hand is similar to our graph here. I think the main reason this lesson was successful is because the students now have experienced how long a meter is, what the size of a meter is, and also a tenth of a meter. They were also able to write it and use the correct notation so that when they see a number with a decimal in it from now on, they're going to be aware of what it is that they're looking at, and they'll understand that it's a part of whole.
Discuss using measurement to introduce decimals. What does Ms. Wise say and do to facilitate student reasoning? Describe and evaluate ways in which the data was displayed.